Hello, my friends. I am very excited to present this episode to you guys. I've been working on this video for a few days, and we're going to take a deeper look into Lori Daybell's body language and her behavior. So let's get started.
Spouses having insurance policies is not a crime. Collecting Social Security is not a crime. Self-defense is not a crime. A family tragedy is not a crime. It's a tragedy. Thank you.
This is Lori Daybell, formerly known as Lori Vallow. And she's right. A family tragedy is not a crime. But Lori, let's be honest. Your story is not about one family tragedy, right? This is Stacy Lynn Cox, Lori's sister. She died in 1998 at the age of 31, suddenly. Her cause of death was deemed as undetermined. In 2018, Joseph Joe Ryan reportedly died from a heart attack. He was Lori's ex-husband. Okay, so we're going to try to have this pattern or to look at the timeline to see like what is happening here. So the first one that I believe is relevant to us is this one, who is her ex-husband in 2018. So 2018 April, that's when he died. But Lori apparently was married to Charles for like 10 years. So she wasn't like married to Joseph Ryan when he died, apparently. But he died of what? A heart attack, something related to his heart, and just like not a very specific, very like suspicious death. Maybe not so much on this one, but let's continue to see who else is around Lori's life. Charles Vallow. He was shot and killed by Lori's brother Alex Cox during a confrontation at her home in July of 2019. The incident was ruled a homicide in self-defense. All right, so here we go. We have April 2018, Joseph Ryan dies. Next year, July of 2019, Charles dies. Now, Charles' death was deemed as self-defense, but today, of course, we are watching the trial and we see that a lot happened during those days. And this is exactly why Lori is facing this trial right now for the conspiracy to murder him, Charles Vallow. So let's continue to see who else is in Lori's life and who came next. This is July 2019. JJ. He died in September 2019, and his remains were discovered at Chad Daybell's home, Lori's current husband. That is so incredibly sad, having a baby, a little boy with special needs. But yes, just, focusing on the timeline. He died. He was the next one, right? Unfortunately, he was the next one to die, and he died in September 2019. And then Brandon, who was Lori Vallow's, he was married to Lori Vallow's niece. He was shot in October 2019. So I just wanted to point that out because even though this person didn't die, he was also he was a victim. They attempted to murder him. So here we have JJ in September 2008. We have Charles in July, I believe. Is that what I said? July. Then we have, so we have Charles in July. We have JJ in September. We have Brandon in October. And then we're going to have next Tylee Ryan. She was 16 years old, Lori's daughter. She was found with JJ's body in shallow graves in Chad Daybell's home. The children hadn't been seen alive since the fall of 2019. They were found in 2020. Tammy Daybell. Chad Daybell's first wife, who was initially thought to have died on October 2019 of natural causes, but was later determined to have been murdered by asphyxiation. Both Lori and Chad have been charged and convicted in connection with her death. Alex Cox, the children's uncle, Lori's brother. He died in December of 2019, 3 months after the children were found.
Tragedy is not a crime. It's a tragedy. Thank you.
Hey there, and welcome to Bianca MMM. Here we dive into the mind, meditations, and motivation. Trial season is here, and we're shining a light on the behavior and psychology of the defendants, witnesses, attorneys, and even judges.
I'll allow it as the investigation.
What are they thinking, feeling, and what is their body language telling us? If you're new, we're so glad you found us, and if you are already a member, welcome back. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment. It helps more than you know. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get started.
You're not here to do the work or no?
Okay, so let me read
Like, they
this.
don't care.
Let me read this slide real quick. The organism doing what the organism has been successful in doing, right? Lori seems to have a little bit of a narcissism, psychopathy in her because she does like to watch and copy behavior or like study behavior. She's trying to like understand how the interrogation is gonna go. She is observing the person who is going to ask her questions to see how should I act. So here I call Lori the organism. She starts to direct eye contact, seeking approval, studying the person, and she still doesn't know how this is gonna go. So she's just like very nervous and apprehensive at this point. Let's see how that's going to change, if she's going to get more comfortable or if she's
Like, they don't care.
gonna...
With high school, it's like they're just pumping. But when she was in elementary and junior high, all the teachers worked with her.
So again, guys, very important, okay? Very important because sometimes we tend to forget when we're watching these videos over and over again. Lori had just witnessed her ex-husband of 10 years being shot and he died. He passed away. She comes right after this incident to this little room. And I'll tell you, I've been in a situation where there was a tragedy of somebody very close to me. And at the scene, I was a mess. I was screaming. I was in shock. I was crying. Then I literally couldn't speak. Like somebody had to take me to their home and they were like, make sure you eat, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. Because I had no reaction or I was either crying or in shock. Like I'm not able to have a conversation and talk to you about this and that. And here Lori is just talking and talking and talking.
They were nice about it, but by high school, there's so many kids that just don't care. And I was like, just take it, you're so smart. Let's just take it and see if you pass it. She passed it. Like, and got a really good.
So she seems comfortable, right? She's just talking about Tylee and how smart Tylee is. But at the same time, she seems comfortable and she's very talkative here. She does cross her leg and her arms. And as you may have heard before, when somebody is crossing, you know, like protecting this like fragile parts that we have, right? We have the abdomen, there's like fragile parts here. Also, the groin area is fragile. So she's crossing her arms, she's crossing her legs, but she seems to be comfortable still because she's still talkative. She's not feeling extremely threatened at this specific minute.
And, yeah, she passed it with like college ready in every category the first time.
Well, and now she can do what she wants. So
Exactly.
She's better off that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know Laura's your first name, right?
Yeah.
Lauri.
Lori.
Okay.
Yeah, so no matter how comfortable we may seem, our body starts to leak information. That's why it's so fascinating to learn a little bit more about body language, right? Because she's there, very talkative, telling this person how smart her daughter is, and just talking to her like I go to the dog park and talk to somebody there, like on a casual day, like there's nothing wrong in my life. And I'm just like, yeah, my dog is very smart and da 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 and this and that. But Lori is coming from a tragedy. So it's not what she does, but it's what she doesn't do that is a red flag. Even though she seems comfortable, then you're going to see her covering her eye and then covering her other eye. A lot of times when we close our eyes, we touch our eye, it's a way of our subconscious mind to see no evil. Like, I don't want to remember that. I saw something awful. I want to block it. Same thing happens when we touch our lips. I don't want to speak any evil. I just don't want to, or our ears. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's bad. It's negative. So here, that's what she just did. She was, covering her eyes and then looking down, looking at the interviewer, and then crossing her arms again. So you can see she's just checking. The organism is checking, what should I do next, right? She doesn't have, it's very probable that she doesn't have her amygdala completely developed in her brain, which is what gives us empathy, compassion, feelings for other people. If she had it, we would be seeing a different type of behavior. We would be seeing like somebody, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Usually what do you have for somebody that you are fighting with? Guilt, right? I can't believe it. We were separating, but he was such a good dad. We were together for 10 years. Oh my God, I can't believe what happened. I can't. What do you want to know? I'll try to help you, but I'm freaking out. Can I have some water? That would be more normal. But Lori here is just like a serious organism studying what is her next action to be so she can get what she wants. Manipulator seems like she knows how to do this very well. She's been doing it for a long time. So let's see what else we can pick up here right after the interviewer moves along. So, okay, so this is just exactly. Now she's going to lean forward to answer. Oh, my name? Okay, my name, I got it. Lori,
And then what's your
LOL.
last name?
Vallow, VALLOW.
And your date of birth?
Her date of birth is
And your phone number?
beep. We don't want your phone number, Lori, trust me.
And you live at the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I know this sounds silly, but it's probably the easiest way to start, is just to tell me what happened. And then, so you can start.
Just real quick, guys. This is what she asked her. Tell me what happened. And one thing I want you guys to take a notice is how long it's going to take for Lori to tell this interviewer what happened. So if you know how long it took, please leave a comment below. If you have a guess, tell me how long you believe it took for Lori to answer a simple question. Just tell me what happened. Well, I got there. My brother was fighting with my ex-husband. A second later, he was shot. I'm freaking out. Is he okay? What happened? I don't know. Tell me what happened, Lori. So let's see what her response is.
What makes the most sense to you, and we'll just work our way through, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions just to kind of clarify.
Sure.
So I know you talked to the initial patrol officer.
And he just got information. He didn't say anything.
So yeah, if you can just kind of tell me kind of what happened. It sounds like some of this may have started last night or something along those lines.
Right.
So start where you think it makes the most sense.
Okay, so,
I told you.
Wait, what?
Great question.
What is so funny? What is so funny? This makes me so angry. Because she can't contain herself and her laughter, her joy just comes out. Completely natural joy. What happened? And then she hides her face. So this makes me mad. Not starting well, Lori. And then when the lady testifies and calls her nonchalant, almost happy, I believe she said, Lori's like, oh, how can you say that? This is why, Lori. This is how you behaved the day your ex-husband died.
Well, so we
And
moved
look at
into
her
this
face.
house 3 weeks.
The interviewer did not find that amusing at all. She's gonna do a great job at just letting Lori hang herself here during this whole interview, but she looked back like her body language was also like not feeling great about this.
Ago because he offered to get me a house here where all my family is. So we were in Houston, and so he's like, we had decided to separate or whatever. So he's like, well, I'll pay for a house for you and for JJ and whatever, because he's all about JJ. He's never about Tylee, but he's all about JJ. Right?
Okay, so whenever she talks about Charles, she's going to be very negative towards him, right? She's going to call him names, belittle him. Everything is about JJ. And then she rolls her eyes. It's never about Tylee. What is the negative thing that Charles did for her? Oh, he got her a house. Yes, he got her a house. So also, we're going to notice a lot of filler words. Filler words is when you really don't have a fact and you just say things like, whatever, blah, 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 she doesn't have a specific fact. So she will say things like whatever. And it's usually to describe something that either would be, tell me something specific that Charles did against you. Whatever, like he always does that, blah, blah, blah. Or to say what exactly happened that day. Oh, I was there and then I was just taking his phone or whatever. I wouldn't give it back or whatever. And then I walked away, like da 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 da. And then ba da 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 da, he was dead. Wait. What's ba da 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 da? What's blah blah blah? Please, can we translate that? Because that seems very, very important. But okay, let's see what else. Oh, during the negative comment about Charles, look, she looks like she's looking at somebody. Like, do you see Charles right now? I'm so confused, Lori. Who are you talking to here? Who are you talking to here, Lori? He's all about JJ or whatever. That's when she was looking at something in the air and going like, "Get away from me." But you never know in the mind of Lori.
We adopted him together. He's his great nephew. We adopted him as a baby. And so we adopted him as a baby, and so we've been raising him together. And he travels all the time for business, so he's used to just going back and forth. So he's always gone like Monday through Friday. So he came when we first moved in and brought me stuff from Houston, like a U-Haul. And then he hasn't been back. But it's all these threats on my phone all the time, like whatever, all these things.
So exactly. Here are the threats, like whatever. So I think the interviewer is going to ask her.
And then he told me...
What kind of threats?
What kind of threats? Can we be specific? And she's just, no words.
You'd have to read them to me, but he's always mad at me. Right? And
wait, what kind of threats? You have to tell me the threats. You have to read them to me. Excuse me, you came in here claiming your ex-husband was always threatening you. I'm asking a simple question. What kind of threats? Well, he told me he was going to punch me in the face. He told me he was going to come after us. He told me I could never be with somebody else. He told me those are specific threats, but Lori doesn't have any of them available in her mind. So she pauses and it's loading. And then she's like, you, the interviewer, will have to read them to me. That doesn't make any sense, because if there were real threats, if it was facts, if it was something that really happened, she would be able to articulate.
he doesn't want a divorce, but I don't like him and don't want to deal with him, so that's just how it is. So we married.
She's such a mean girl during this trial. Like, she showed her true colors, even though she's trying to be so soft. A lot of manipulators, they find a way to charm. A lot of people who have the narcissism, they find a way to get what they want in their lives by being charming. One thing I noticed that Lori likes to do, especially towards men or even towards women, even when she was on the phone with the life insurance lady, she talks very softly and she'll be like, "Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor." Somebody said Betty Boop's voice, and that is what she's trying to do. Because why? Because it has worked for her throughout her whole life. She found that when she is acting with a soft voice and she's like very, very high and soft, that people will give her what she wants. And in this interview, she got what she wanted. She was treated as a victim. Nobody suspected she had anything to do with Charles' death, and it was ruled self-defense. Years later, now she's on trial for his murder, but she did get what she wanted at the time. So notice how she does that, and she's always gonna make a negative comment about Charles and a positive comment about herself. So grandiosity, making herself bigger. I don't like him, so I don't want him to live with me. Oh my goodness, it's like aggravating. And some people don't see that they're doing that. And she does it the whole time. So he's always mad at me. Whenever she's talking about Charles, it's everything is encompassed in one. And let's see how where she goes from here.
For 14 years, we've dealt with him for 14 years, of him being
I've dealt
horrible
with
her.
him.
Like, he gets in huge fights with her. A lot of things. But anyway.
What are the things? What are a lot of things? But anyway. And remember the question in the beginning. What was the question in the beginning? Tell me what happened. What happened today? Tell me how your ex-husband is dead. What do you know about your ex-husband being dead in your house today? And she's going on and 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 on.
So he said, "I'm coming Wednesday night, all of a sudden. I want to see JJ." And I told him, I said, "I will never keep JJ from you. You can come see whatever you want to. Come take him to school, whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that."
So when you initially moved, he had said he was going to buy you a house. So you moved here with your...
Yeah, he was going to rent us a house.
And so you moved...
All my family lives here. So
Right.
we lived here for a long time.
Okay.
And then he moved us to Houston.
Okay.
And we were there with my son. He was out of school. He didn't have any of his, services, his DDD, his anything. He, ripped him out of school and said, "We're moving."
Okay.
And I didn't go with him at first. And he took him. And I let him take him. And I didn't file anything or whatever. And then he filed something against me and said, "I'm only going to get supervised visits because I'm crazy," and blah, blah, blah. You know the story.
No, we don't know this story, but let's hear from Kay. What really happened?
I walked out and she was standing there. She had her back to me. Charles was sitting at the table on his phone, and he obviously didn't realize that she was there. And then finally, when he hung up, he looked up and there she was, and he started crying and she started yelling.
Do you recall what she was yelling about?
That, "Why did you take JJ? Why did you take JJ? Why did you take him out of school? Why are you moving? What are you doing? All this is your fault." It was just ridiculous.
So she'd been gone for 58 days, leaving,
No contact whatsoever.
and then she shows up at the house when you guys are moving out.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't talk to him for 30 days and let him take care of him and let him see what I've been doing for the past 7 years. So I moved in with them to Houston for the family, and Kylie went with me. We drove to Houston from here and left all our family and all his support, all my son's support, his cousins, everything. And we were there, and I enrolled him in school there. I tried to start all his services, and it takes forever.
Yeah.
It takes so long to get that done.
There's no easy transfer.
There's no easy transfer.
You start from the beginning.
It's a totally new thing.
Yeah.
And he didn't do any of it in those 30 days. So he just had gone without services, without even applying. And I'm like, "Do you even realize?" Because he didn't ever do it in the first place. I did it. Long story. I'll keep it short.
Okay, so no, you're not going to keep it short. And I just wanted to show that video from Kate because when she's telling this interviewer that Charles ripped him out of school, he just took him, like he just moved away with him. It seems like Charles is kind of abrupt and doing something wrong here. But Lori failed to mention that she had disappeared for like almost 2 months. Nobody could get a hold of her. She wasn't answering anybody's phone call. And he was like, I'm going to go pick up my son. I'm going to take him. And then all of a sudden she shows up and she's in a confrontation with him. So she forgets to mention anything that she's doing. Also, at this time, she was already claiming, that she was a spiritual goddess, something much higher than anybody, that she didn't need to repent, that the people around her life were zombies. Some people were taken over by darkness, including Charles. So when she says, he was calling me crazy, blah, 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 the story, that's what was in those filler words. Her version is blah, 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 the story. But the actuality, the facts are that she was away, she was with Chad, she was already living her fantasy world, and she was telling everybody about it. So people were like, no, Lori, that's not true. Lori, you're not an enlightened being that doesn't need repentance. No, Lori, people are not zombies. You probably need some mental health help. Mental health help. Say that 5 times fast. And then but she knows how to work in this world. Even though her beliefs are telling her all these things, she understands that there's something wrong there in her. She understands that she cannot just say that, all her beliefs, to anybody. She cannot open up to this interrogator and say, oh, you know how it is. I was telling him about my enlightenment, and I was telling him that he was taken over by this dark spirit, and all of a sudden he wanted me to like seek mental health help. And the interviewer would be like, wait, what? What did you just say to me? So she is capable of discerning right and wrong, right? As you can see, she won't say those things to the interviewer. She'll just say, oh, he was calling me crazy, and you know how it is, the story, blah, blah, blah. That's what she'll say. So if she had mental issues, if she was unable to discern what's right and what's wrong, she would just say the story right there and then. So that is very interesting in case she was ever seeking for a mental health defense. So anyways, let's keep going here.
He hasn't been here in a couple weeks since we moved in.
Okay.
He came. He was very nasty when he was there, but he travels for business. So he went back to the Houston house,
Okay.
and he's like, I'm coming on Wednesday night, and I'm going to come pick up JJ and take him to school Thursday, pick him up Thursday, take him Friday, whatever. And I said, Casey wanted to come to the house. And I said, you can't come stay at this house. Because
He didn't ask you to.
She's a minor. She has to live here.
Yeah.
So because he gets in huge fights up there.
Okay.
And she hates him.
Wow. What else can you say about him? I mean, the level of contempt and hate that she has towards him right after he died is extremely suspicious. Every other word that she says about him, somebody who just passed away few minutes ago, is of contempt and hate, and she's superior. She always acts superior.
So like, you can't stay at the house, so I will book you a hotel, because he stays in hotels all the time because he travels for business, and the business pays for it.
Oh,
right?
pays
So I
for
said,
it.
I will book you a hotel nearby.
What does he do?
He works with teachers.
And blah blah blah. Oh, I cut a little piece of the interview because it was just more of
Second
it.
excuse.
And wait. Can anybody tell me, please write down right now on minute 29. Tell me if you remember the question this interviewer asked Lori. What is Lori responding to right now? Tell me if you know. Write down right below. Tell me if you know.
So I've done that myself for the past 7 years anyway. And I was a single mom before I married him with my 2 kids.
Yeah.
And he had 2 kids.
Oh
We
my
got married,
gosh,
like
what a
family.
victim. Oh, I cut another piece. Because she continues talking about her being a
So he didn't
single
bother me last
mom.
night, which I was surprised. I was expecting
blah,
kind of an ambush for him to kind of like,
Now look at this. Fantastic, fantastic projection moment. Here she is. She called her brother to come to the house and protect her. They were talking about getting rid of Ned. Okay. They were telling everybody Charles was Ned, an evil spirit now. Charles is her ex-husband. If you don't know anything about it, of course you probably do, but I'm just saying, Charles is Laura's ex-husband who died. But that week, Lori was texting everybody, her brother, her lover, that Charles was actually no longer Charles, that he was taken over by Ned, who was a spirit or who was a zombie. And then Ned was gone and it was another spirit. They had to get rid of him or it, and that everything was going to change that week. And she was going to become like this Nephi or whatever. And then she says, even though she planned this whole thing for her brother to be there, he was always carrying a gun. I don't know what else they planned exactly, but she wanted the spirit to be gone. She's saying that she felt like Charles was going to ambush her. And oh, I'm surprised he didn't ambush me, because she's projecting herself, her own plans into Charles.
come over or be just mean
Uh-huh.
and say, it's my house, I'm on the lease, I'm going to stay here. Kind of.
He didn't do any of that, by the way. This is what she was saying that she was afraid he was going to do. Just nonstop smearing.
Kind of his macho attitude. And
Tell me what happened.
so he came this morning. I was getting JJ ready.
So he got in last night, but he wasn't at the house last night.
Yeah, I didn't hear from him. Except for he texted me and said, I'll be there at 7:30 to pick up JJ.
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
Notice how Lori's body language shifts as she approaches the actual incident description. She's grabbing both elbows, suggesting discomfort or sometimes dominance. Her arms are crossed, which suggests defensiveness, self-restraint, or even a natural way of dealing with discomfort. Her legs are crossed, but she feels the need to uncross and cross on the other side, suggesting a feeling of being uncomfortable, not at ease, and needing to pacify herself.
That was good. Didn't hear from him. And then he came over.
So notice that when she's approaching the actual incident, she does the, loading. Her loading thing is here. Like, she gets quiet. She goes from being very talkative and knowing what to say, blah, blah, blah. And she's telling everybody how great she is, how she's a single mom, and I did this for JJ, I do that, nobody cares, da, da, da. She's talking badly about Charles, nonstop talking. When she has to go back to the incident, she's kind of speechless for a minute.
In the morning, and he's like banging on the door. I'm like, oh great, here we go, And
Here
I
we
was
go.
just
What?
nice, so
Here we
sick.
go. What? The guy had
was Lori.
Oh no, I freaking. I'm gonna have to find where we were. But anyways, here we go. What? Charles had told you. He texted you the night before. He told you what time he was gonna be there. 7:30. He was there to pick up JJ. He wasn't there for you. He wasn't there for anything else. And then, what's the problem? Here we go. Here we go. What? So real quick, because I think I moved the video. I did move the video. I have to find where we were. So let me just see. Maybe we were here. Thanks for the comment. Let me see.
To school. And I was like, it's okay, Daddy can just drive you to school. It's not a big deal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were about here.
whatever. Yeah, calm.
Okay,
And-
another thing that I noticed too during this interview was that a few times the interviewer is going to give her a word that is more appropriate than what she wants to say. So here she's describing that when Charles arrived, that JJ was like, oh, hi, Dad. And then all of a sudden, JJ didn't want to go with Dad anymore to school. So Lori's saying, I was trying to make everything whatever. And the interviewer is like, oh, were you trying to make everything calm? So she's giving Lori, like, this is what would be more appropriate. So notice when I have this little text box here, that's when the interviewer is trying to help Lori with her words.
And he's just being real smirky and real like jerky, to me. And I was like ignoring him, whatever. And
Oh yeah, because
so-
you're a saint, so you ignored the jerk who's smirking, whatever. Again, she cannot hide her contempt and hate for Charles.
he was like,
And your brother lives there with you?
no,
Okay.
he had stayed with me last night because I was worried he was going to come over and
Okay.
cause trouble with me.
Okay.
And
Like you were going to cause trouble with him. So again, here's Lori projecting.
just wanted someone else there, like my brother there, because I trust my brother. And it's been a long story. Like, I had to go live at my brother's when he took JJ, and, he's just been difficult. So, Anyway.
So again, what happened, Lori? What happened that day?
So I got JJ's stuff ready. And he was like, well, and he's like this about timing. He's like, I'm leaving in 20 minutes because it's like 15 minutes to the school and like you can't get there early. They don't open the gates until 8:20 or something like that. And I said, well, why don't you just go now? I don't want him in the house. I'm like, why don't you just go now and take him to Burger King because that's what he likes for breakfast. And he's very particular about food.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted chicken fries for breakfast and a Sprite. Like, and I just get what he wants because if you don't get what he wants, then it's like on the floor screaming, dragging him, and just go like, and he's big and he was heavy and it was hard for me to handle. But anyway.
Tell me what happened.
So I said, just go. And so he said, okay. So I gave him a backpack. He got in the car. This is his MO, right? He always leaves something in the house and comes back. He never leaves the first time. I always expect my husband to come back into the house, right? So I guess he...
Okay. Is anybody else bothered by the fact that Lori keeps calling Charles my husband, even during the trial in 2025? After she married somebody else, she's married to Chad Daybell. They never got divorced. They're both in prison for life. But anyways, and she keeps calling Charles my husband. My husband. This is another demonstration of the organism doing what the organism is used to do to succeed, because she was always married. She married a bunch of people, maybe 5, I don't know how many times she was married, and she just has this persona. She's the wife, she's the mother, she takes care of everybody. My husband this, my husband that, and it's just so cringe to hear Lori talk about him like this.
had left his phone on the counter.
So he initially left with the backpack and with JJ?
And so he put them in the car,
Okay.
in the driveway, and then he came back in, right? So I kissed JJ goodbye. He came back in, and his phone was on the counter, and I had his phone. And he was like, give me my...
So when she says I had his phone, it's kind of like a fading fact, right? You just say something like that is negative because it's a negative action she took. She knows it's wrong. She knows she was provoking him. So she says it very like almost like fading, like, and I had his phone, and I had his phone, because that doesn't matter to her. She wants to focus on how jerky, how this and that Charles was, to show the interviewer what? That he deserved to die? Is that your point? Why are you talking so much beeps about your husband, Lori? Why do you have that need to constantly name him something? Let me give you some examples. I'll give you some examples because I wrote them down. Okay. Here's Lori talking about Charles during this interview. He's all about JJ. He's never about Tylee. All these threats on my phone, like all the time, like whatever, all these things. Like he didn't do any of it. He didn't do the school transfer. He didn't get JJ's services. He ripped JJ out of school. He hasn't been here for a couple of weeks. He was very nasty, macho attitude. That was good that he texted me, even for him. He was banging on the door. Usually he's Mr. On time. He's murky and jerky. I was worried he was going to come over and cause trouble with me. He's just been so difficult. This is his MO. What's his MO? Oh, he always forgets his phone. Okay. He's acting really weird because he's asking for his phone like he's plotting something. He goes nuts. Well, yeah, he was talking to your brother about you calling everybody zombies, yelling and screaming, breaking things. There's something he does not want me to see on his phone. Charles is screaming at Tylee, don't hit me with that bat, blah, blah, blah. Charles was screaming, super upset. I mean, she just doesn't stop. And all the interviewer wanted to know was, how did your husband end up dead in your house?
Phone, and I was like, why don't you show me your text that you've been texting, blah, blah, blah. You know?
Blah, 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 whatever. You're having an affair. You're separated from the guy. You're calling the guy a zombie and a spirit, a dark spirit. Get his phone back to him, lady. Give his phone back. Psycho. Absolutely psycho.
Because he's like acting really weird, like he's plotting something against me. Like, I'm like, why are you even here? Like,
he's there to pick up JJ.
What did you come here for? You know, he's been talking to my other brother, and my brother.
So she goes on, like she doesn't even pause, right? Why are you even here? If I was the interrogator, I would have probably I would want to say that I would be like, oh, I'm sorry. What do you mean? He told you he was going to go there to pick up JJ to take him to school. What do you mean you didn't know what he was doing there? And then she just connects that to, oh, I don't know what he was there for. He was talking to my older brother. So all of these are things that were bothering her because they were disturbing her plan. And narcissists, people like to be, they're the type of people that like to be in control. They love to control and manipulate others. They like to know exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to affect them because they are their whole world. They only care about themselves. So when Charles is showing some type of wisdom here, talking to one of her brothers, the other one, Adam, not Alex who shot him, but Adam, and saying, hey, something's wrong. They're planning something. He's showing concern for the whole situation. He was worried about his life and he was worried about JJ and Tylee. And guess what? The three of them are deceased. So he had every right to be worried about this. But to Lori, this is like an insult. How dare you? How dare you want to talk about me with my brother? I am an enlightened being and I don't understand why you want your phone back. You're acting all weird. You're super weird.
I came into town at the same time.
Tell me what happened.
Last night, and I haven't talked to my brother in a while.
We still haven't gotten there.
I was like, and so he was texting him on the phone when he first got to my house, and I'm like, why are you texting Adam? Like, do you even talk to him? Like my other brother. And you know, he's been telling me all these texts like, you're going down,
Blah, blah, blah.
He's blaming me for our marriage breaking up and my niece getting divorced and my friend.
Wait a second. Your niece getting divorced. Okay, so interesting fact. Again, this happened in this interview was July 2019. And then the same year, she's talking about her niece who was married to Brandon. Brandon was shot in October 2019. So all of this is relevant because she also told her niece that her husband, Brandon, was dark. She needed to stay away from him, and her niece was kind of believing her at the time. So yes, she is manipulating everybody around her. Yes, she is trying to break up Brandon and Melanie's marriage. But here in the interview, she says, oh, they were saying that I was trying to get them to break up. And then she's going to say, I don't have control on what other people do, which is kind of true. But for Lori, not really, because she really did manipulate and try to control others. But notice how her body language is going to say that. She's kind of like, she doesn't believe that. So when she says it, she's going to like laugh. I don't have the power to control anybody, but she thinks she does. So let's go.
Getting divorced. She said, I'm a destroyer of families. Because I want everybody to get divorced. I'm like, what would my motivation be for people getting divorced? So I could babysit.
Tell me what happened.
Tell me what happened.
Why would I have any control over what people do?
Yeah.
So it's just very odd. But anyway.
You're very odd.
He goes nuts. He's gone nuts on us a lot of times. Tyler and I have had to leave with JJ.
So what happened?
Over the years, probably
Lori,
5
what
times to just stay in a
happened?
hotel for 2 days because he goes nuts. Like,
Okay.
you know,
Got it. Charles is the worst. Like, what happened?
whatever. And she's mad at me for always like going back. But we had JJ and he's special needs and it's really hard. Like it's even harder to take care of by yourself.
So when you say he goes nuts, that means that can mean a lot of different things.
Right.
So goes nuts like yelling and screaming?
Yeah,
goes
yelling and
nuts, like,
screaming,
breaking
like,
things?
yes.
Goes nuts like physical violence?
He's
So notice that Lori doesn't have any specifics, right? When people ask her to describe the threats from Charles or the how is he violent? How is he aggressive? How is he a macho? How is he a threat to you? She doesn't have any specific words, anything. Nothing comes up in her mind. But the interviewer gives her a bunch of softballs and she's saying, what does he do specifically? Does he scream? Yes, yes, he screams. Does he push? Yes, yes, yes. So then she's going to have some words that the interviewer is offering her to describe what she meant when she said that he was always attacking them.
never really, besides like grabbing us and pushing us, but not like punching us or something. But with Tylee, he has gotten physical
Okay.
before. And with my grown son,
Like physical how?
like got into a physical fist fight with my son when he was 16.
Okay.
And he came after Tylee.
So, okay, right after she says he came after Tylee, I think I'm going to have a little video to show you guys again. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. Okay. Tongue jut. Tongue jut. Unconscious body language, facial expression that happens when you think I got away with something or I just got caught. It has something to do with that part of the brain. So when she says he came after Tylee, she does a tongue jut, which is so funny. Like the whole tongue comes out sometimes. And I try to capture that moment, like, freeze frame here so that you guys can see. So let's see, because she just said he came after Tylee. Let's see if you guys can see her doing right now on the left side.
2 times in Hawaii.
Okay.
And
There you go. She
went like
just
he was
did
going
it.
to hit her, but then I
She
got
just
in
did
between
it.
them.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I got in
How
between
old
them
was she
because
when
I'm a
that happened?
saint.
Probably 13 and 14.
Okay. So this morning he comes back in and.
He comes back in, I wouldn't give him his phone. He was screaming at me to give him his phone. He was very worried about whatever was on his text that he
It's his phone. It's his phone. Give it back.
did not
Psycho.
want me to see. And so I was just holding it there and he was screaming at me.
I was just minimizing anything bad that she does. I was just holding it there. No, you're not just holding it there. First of all, you're taking something that doesn't belong to you. Second of all, you're asking him about the text messages. You want to see what he's been telling your brother. You want to know things. You're not just holding nothing. You're not an innocent victim here.
And I was kind of walking towards around the house with it so he couldn't get it. He's like reaching for it and stuff
Yeah,
like
he
that.
wants his phone
And
back.
so Tylee came out of her room upset
Mhm.
and she had a bat and she told him to leave her mother alone, like,
Uh-huh.
right? So she was really whatever. And he's screaming at her, don't you take me.
She was really whatever what. And who has a daughter that just has a bat and just gonna like let the person just have a bat and start threatening other people? Like, this is all wrong. This is all wrong, right? No, Charles, you're not allowed to hit my daughter. You're not allowed to scream at her. You're not allowed to mistreat her. But Tylee, when 2 adults are fighting, you're also not supposed to come in between with a bat because that's not going to help anybody. So, not Mother of the Year.
that bad, and blah, 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 blah. And then my brother heard all
So again, she came out with the bat or whatever, and then blah, 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 blah. So again, the facts are not there on her side, because if there was facts here that could help her story, she would be able to articulate them. The reason why she isn't is because she's used to getting away with things just by trying to be charming and just like trying to have people buy her story. And this day she was successful doing that.
commotion because he was in there in bed. And so he came out into the main room and I guess whatever.
What's your brother's name?
Alex.
Again, whenever we get to the specifics, it's I guess whatever. It's not specific, right? Tell me what happened. We've been here for, I think, about 17 minutes of interview. She hasn't told the interviewer what happened yet.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then he just started, he was screaming and he was super upset and whatever. And he's yelling at Tylee, don't you hit me with that bat, and blah, blah, blah. And so
Not blah, blah, blah. I mean, if Tylee did have a bat with Charles trying to get his phone, and trying to just like say, don't hit me with the bat. Like it's, oh, look at me with all the filler words. I'm not even going to say what it is because otherwise everybody's going to pay attention now. So, and blah, blah, blah. Why is he saying don't hit me with a bat? Lori, that make like everything Charles has done, even when she's describing him as the worst person, everything he did made sense. Everything he did was normal. He gave her notice. She was aware he was coming. He knocked on the door. He came to pick up his son. He left. He didn't come in and stay and fight. He left. Then he noticed his phone was gone. So he came back to get it. Then you, like a child, started to run around the house. Bah, 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 you can't have your phone. And just escalated things. So yes, it seems like this was planned.
Tylee, I guess, I don't know if she swung at him or what, but he like grabbed the bat from Tylee and then went to like hit Tylee with the bat. It was, and I was right there, they were right there, and my brother grabbed him from behind, like just to stop him from hitting Tylee.
You go like this, like he grabbed him like.
Yeah, from behind, like just kind of to pull him back. And then they got into the thing, and he's hitting him with the bat, and they're on the ground, like grappling around or whatever. And then, I mean, that was all
And he
quickly.
And he hit your brother with the bat while they were grappling and stuff.
Yeah,
Again, don't help her, okay? Because she doesn't have facts. When it comes to the incident, her mind goes blank. Is it because she's trying to lie about what really happened? Or is it because what is it? Why? Okay? Because she's like, and then they were all grappling on the floor, and then it all happened so fast. And then the interviewer has to say, oh, did this happen? Let me give you a fact. Can you confirm or deny? So did Charles hit your brother with a bat? Oh, yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. How did you know?
yes, he was hitting him with the bat, like swinging the bat, back and forth, and they were kind of like on the ground, and I was like freaking out trying to go around, knowing JJ was in the car, right? And so then he got up and he had the bat like this towards me, and I was going around the other side to try to just get out of his range where he couldn't hit me. And then I had told Tylee, because she was on the ground, because after he took the bat from her, she fell back. And so I told her, I was like, go get in the car with JJ. Like, I don't want JJ coming into the house, and I wanted her out of the way. I wanted the kids out of the way, whatever this fight was going to be. And then,
do you remember what your husband or your brother were saying or yelling during all of this? If they were at all?
Just kind of, get off me, ow, or whatever. They were like, don't talk to my niece about it, whatever. Like, it was, I don't remember specifics, but they were kind of both, they were kind of in the heat of it. I don't think there was many words that I remember.
So Tylee goes outside.
Yeah, she was outside.
And then what happened?
Then they got up from that, and my brother had stepped back, I guess, and then Charles was coming with me at the bat, yelling at me to give him his phone still, because I had it in my hand. It was all really quickly. And then when I went around kind of in the circle, then my brother was there.
When you said when you were going around and he was coming at you with the bat, how was he holding the bat?
Just like that, like backwards, almost in one arm.
Like he was swinging it backwards? He would have done like
he would have swung it backwards at me, not frontward.
Okay, yeah.
He was a professional baseball player.
Okay.
So it was a good idea for Charlie to get out of the house.
Probably not the.
I mean, he played semi-pro.
Yeah.
He was, But, and then I was kind of turned around, and we were all right there in that room, except for the kids had been outside by that time, and I heard the gunshot. And
so you heard the shot? Did you actually see the shot, or did you just hear it?
I had gone around to the kitchen to get away from him, and so back around. So I don't know if he went in the house.
I didn't, so I'm a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, so I didn't see when I didn't see the shot, I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground.
Okay.
And was freaking out.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, it's so funny, right? When Charles was on the ground, that was like super hilarious, super funny. What did I do here? I don't know what I did. Hold on. How do I go back to this?
was just freaking out.
Uh-oh. Why? What did I do? Oh, there you go. Thank you. Oh, I was so scared I had messed everything up for a second. So anyway, again, when she's talking about him being on the floor, dead, shot, her reaction is not, oh my God, let's do CPR. Let's call 911 right away. Let's do this. No, it's, Sorry.
Oh, and it just went into mom mode. I'm like, I've got to go to get JJ to school. I've got to
This
get
is
to the
not
kids.
funny.
I just
It's
felt like
not
I got to
funny,
get to the
Lori.
kids. And so I just went outside and to see if they were in there okay. I didn't want them coming back in the house when all that was going on. And got JJ in the car and he was trying to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And Tylee was like looking at me with like the crazy eyes, like what just happened. And I told her to get in the car and run and take JJ to school. And I just left.
When you came back in and
I just left.
I just left. I just left. I just left. I just left.
Well, yesterday, you spoke often of my calm demeanor, my nonchalantness. Is that correct?
Correct.
So has there ever been an occasion when you have seen me when I was not calm?
Saw him on the ground. Where was your brother? Did you see him where he was at?
Yeah, he was right in front of him.
Okay.
Like it all happened very quickly. That
Right.
was, I mean,
By the way, when she was described as nonchalant, she was really upset about that during the trial. She was like, what do you mean I'm nonchalant? Like, I was just calm. I'm not screaming. But this question, have ever seen me not calm? I have heard her not calm. Did you guys hear the life insurance call when Lori's like, well, he left us because we have 5 kids. We have 4 kids. I don't know. He left us with nothing. Her voice, she was so angry. She was so upset when she found out she was not getting $1 million from her ex-husband's death. Very, very upset. So, and then also she asked, was the police officer nervous? Was the firefighter nervous? And everybody was like, lady, they didn't just see their husband die in their own home. They didn't see a family member die in their own home. So this doesn't even make sense. Like your inability to have compassion and empathy and to know that normal people would freak out if a family member had been deceased in their home or maybe even in front of them. They will be freaking out. So your reaction is absolutely not appropriate. So please tell me, guys, what you think is lacking from Lori during this interview. What is it when people say it's not how you behaved, it's how you did not behave? What do you think is missing from Lori to be more reliable on her story that this was a self-defense case?
I feel like I was there because I was right there. And like a second later, like
Okay.
I just went around the kitchen to get away from him.
Did your brother say anything to you at all? Do you remember?
No, we were both just in shock.
Okay.
Like it was just.
We finally killed Ned. Probably.
I didn't say anything. I went out with the kids just to check on them first, and I was gonna come back in maybe, but I didn't. I was like, I just have to get him to school
Okay.
and call the police, come back, whatever.
Did anybody say
Again, another thing. Remember when she said, I had his phone and then I called the police? Everything that is like not really convincing to her, right? It's not really like, I had to call the police, something happened. No, I had to call the police, and no. It's always a fading fact.
Did you or your brother say anything at some point about calling the police or calling 911? Do you remember?
Yeah, he called me and
Okay.
he said, "Are you taking GJ to school?"
Uh-huh.
And I
Again,
said,
the
"Yeah, we need to
laughter.
call the police."
It's just so
I said,
inappropriate.
Okay. So he called you when you didn't come back inside, basically?
Right,
Okay.
because I was like in the car for a minute, and then I was like, "What do I do?"
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want JJ to go inside, and I didn't. I didn't know what to do, and Tyler was freaking
Call
out.
the
to
cops.
get them
Call 911.
away from the
Ambulance.
Understandable.
Mhm.
Do you, I don't, and you may not know this,
Mhm.
so, because I know you heard the shot, do you know at what point your brother had the gun? Do you know if he had it when they got in their first fight, or did he have to go get it, or do you know that at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And do you remember if you ever heard your brother?
I didn't see him ever leave the room,
Okay.
so it was so fast. All that was so fast. Like,
Yeah.
him on the ground rolling around, and I'm screaming, and
This probably happened in a couple seconds.
yeah, I mean, it was like super fast.
And I don't know if you know this or not, does your brother normally carry a gun? Like, I carry a gun everywhere I go.
Right. Like, I know he's a gun person. Like, he
Okay.
has guns and things.
Okay.
He's good with guns.
Did you know that he had one with him
No,
when he came over?
no, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because
Okay.
he's very, very professional with guns.
Proficient, professional, responsible's usually a good.
Right,
a good word.
responsible with guns.
And then, do you remember if at any time, so you were trying to get away from him,
Right.
and you heard the shot. Prior to the shot, do you remember at any point hearing your husband or your brother saying anything to either of them?
No.
So my second very ridiculous question is there anything else that I didn't ask about or anything that we didn't cover that you think is important? I always ask that just because I wasn't there, and so we're going through something that happened a super small amount of time.
Yes. Can I
So,
step?
Yeah, go for it.
Just thinking.
Mhm.
Just that.
Nothing.
He was just so angry, like super scary.
So
You know
what?
how you take your phone away from like a 16-year-old and they freak out? Like their world disintegrates. Like I've taken my phone away from a 16-year-old boy before, and he's like wanted to kill himself because like they kidnapped him. That's how it was. It was like, is something on his phone that he does not want me to see?
Sure, it's
that
his
he was,
phone.
like,
It's his phone.
freaking out,
Mhm.
like to the point where I thought he would hit me in the back of the head to get the phone.
Okay. So you thought,
No, you didn't,
And not- I don't wanna
because
put
if
words
you
in-
had thought that, you probably would have given him his phone back, right? If he was gonna hit you in the head with a bat, that was like lethal force, you probably would have just given. If you were that afraid of him, you're that scared of him, you would have been like, you know what? Fine, here's your phone back. Get away from me, right? But no, you're instigating him.
your mouth, but you thought it was possible that he was going to hurt you.
Absolutely, he was gonna hurt me and Tylee.
Okay.
Not JJ. He would never hurt JJ.
Okay.
Again.
He hurt my brother. Like
Yeah.
he was going like ballistic about. It was bad.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to her real quick.
Okay.
And then if, obviously, we'll be here for a little bit, hopefully not too much longer. But if you think of anything or there's anything that kind of pops in your head or something else that we didn't cover, obviously.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go talk to her for just a little bit, and then I'll kind of come back and check with you. And then we'll kind of go from there. So I know my partner's talking to your brother over in one of the other interview rooms. So we're going to just try to get, as much done as we can and go from there.
Okay.
Okay? And then,
Okay.
is there anybody that you need to call or anything, or you want to wait a little bit?
I don't know what I would say.
And
Yeah, what about his
wait a little
kids?
bit, we'll see.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what I would say.
if you want to, you
Wow.
can think about it. So
This
We
is
do have-
another sign of a narcissist, you know, the selfishness, the egocentric, only thinking about herself, her situation, how does that affect her? So she can't think about Charles' family, his sister, his kids. They found out on Google that Charles had passed away. So again, the organism can try to be soft spoken, thank you, to be nice, to show how great her family is, but the lack of empathy and emotion and compassion is glaring here, okay? And the amount of criticism toward the victim is incredible here. The lack of specificity and facts, especially when it had to do with the incident, is incredible here. The lack of a specificity when she's talking about the threats and all the things she claims was happening is incredible here. So we should always pay attention to those things that sometimes, you know, pass by because the person is so charismatic and they are so nice and they're so, you know, they're portraying an image to us. But pay attention on the behavior that is leaking from the person. So let's just see the end here real quick.
Victim services that work with
Oh, victim services. I'm getting away with it.
And they do.
I am a victim.
Jessica, who's out there with the fire department, so they're kind of our crisis response. They come right away. So our victim services that work in the department are kind of more long term. And if you need anything, let me know. Okay. Okay.
Wow. Now, real quick, we're just gonna watch Lori, her behavior right after the lady leaves the room. I don't know if she knows she's being recorded, but it's possible. Let's just notice how Lori acted and tell me what you guys think in the comment section. And that's it, guys. This is the end of this episode. I am so grateful that you guys were here. Thank you so much for spending this time together. We have a lot of things coming up. We are going to be following the Karen Reed trial. If you haven't seen, please check out the videos we've done last year on the Karen Reed trial. We have body language stuff on everybody, or most of them. Brian Albert, Brian Higgins, McCabe. We were the channel that like started checking the witnesses, right? Not just the main characters, but some of the important witnesses. So there's like a sprinkle of sense of humor and just, you know, trying to make a difficult subject a little bit lighter. So, you know, I really appreciate that you guys can understand that, because to me, that's the only way I can process such horrific crimes sometimes that we are following here. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching, guys. Bianca MMM, your go-to place for mind meditation and motivation to elevate your life and keep you entertained. I'm passionate about exploring the human mind and psychology, and here we dive into court proceedings, body language analysis, and sprinkle in a bit of humor along the way. You will also find content to boost your personal growth physically and mentally, featuring quick meditation techniques and uplifting messages to kickstart your day. Your support means the world to me. Until next time, take care and stay positive.